All right, another little pep talk for you. 4 steps to reinventing yourself. I always love when people give steps, but I want to give you the caveat that the steps, they're not like a die hard end all here. But when I begin to look back at my life and what I have created and how I have reinvented myself and who I have become, there are steps that are pretty clear to me that not only I have utilized, but I have also worked through with my clients. And this is how you change your life. This is how you shift yourself. This is how you create everything that you desire to create. And so I'm just going to dive right in. I'm going to dive right in. This is a little pep talk. My pep talks have been long lately, so let's see if we can get this one a little shorter for you. But the step number one is having a willingness to be uncomfortable. I think that a lot of times, well, I know that a lot of times our brains are wired for survival. They're not wired for joy and growth and a big life, right? They're wired to keep us safe. And so a lot of us, we are afraid to get out of our comfort zone. We like to stay where it's comfortable because to our brain, familiar equals safe. And familiar is typically what is comfortable. And so if you look around at your life and decide, what is not feeling good right now? What have you wanted to shift, but what have you not been willing to get out of your comfort zone to change? And let's do that. Let's get out of our comfy zones here. I am so far out of my comfort zone right now that it is not even funny. For those of you who have been following, we just moved to a new state, and we moved to a new state to grow our businesses, to grow our network, to get in the rooms with more people. And Arizona just feels like a really entrepreneurial space. A lot of the networks I already ran in are here. And so we moved to have a little more convenience. And it is very uncomfortable. It is so uncomfortable. I am not used to living in a neighborhood where the houses are close together. I'm used to having an acre of land, a huge backyard, the kids can play, and now we have a swimming pool and a fireplace and rocks and a little patch of turf. So it's just new. And my brain freaked out. There were so many tears that have been cried since we've gotten here. Um, and that's okay. But I'm willing to feel these feelings because I know where I am going. And there have been so many times that I have just wanted to run back to safety. I have wanted to run back. So, step number two is having a knowing that your brain will want to rewind and undo everything that you just did when you step into the uncomfy. And I did want to add this as a step because I think this is something that we forget until we're in it. And it's like having that baby and they send it home and you get home and you're like, now what do I do? And you're just figuring it out as you go. It's the same thing here. You would never give the baby back, but there have been times that it's I remember saying to my husband, remember when it was so easy when we had one kid or 2 kids or no kids? Remember how easy that was? And I didn't get a Oh geez, I didn't get to experience a lot of freedom with no kids, because I had a kid right out of high school, a year after high school, a year after we graduated, we had our first baby, and so we didn't get to experience a lot of life without a baby. But it's the same thing. Your brain will want to run back to safety. I can't even tell you how strong the urge was to cancel everything. There were so many hangups going through the process of selling our house to the point where the very last one, the appraisal came in about $9,000 under what we had agreed upon for the sale of our home. And of course, if you know, then you have a decision to make. And my hope was that these buyers would meet us in the middle because we had put in a new air conditioner, we had fixed some things on the roof. We had done all of the repairs that they asked for, except for 2 that would have required sheetrock cutting and something major. And they were not willing to meet us in the middle. They were like, either we cancel or you just drop your price, $9,000. So one, that was a hit. But that was when I had this really strong urge, maybe we should just cancel. Maybe we should just cancel. Maybe we should stay and we'll figure this out. And it was so strong during that time because that would have been a really easy cop out to be you know what, we'll just wait for the next buyers, and we would have just continued to push it off and push it off and push it off, right? And so just know that your brain is going to want to run back to safety, and that's okay. That is normal. So you get to create what I call the if this then what plan. And so when my brain decides it wants to run back to safety, I'm going to let myself know that we are okay and we are going to continue to move forward. And so you can just make a plan like that, that you know that when your brain wants to offer up all the reasons why you should just go back to where it was familiar and safe, then you can know that you have a plan and you're going to continue to move forward. So that is step 2. Step 3, choose your focus and your energy. Something that I see a lot of people doing is focusing on the fear, focusing on all the things that could go wrong, which is only going to create a future that hasn't even happened yet. And again, the brain does not know the difference between false and reality. So it does not know what you're making up in your mind, in your imagination, and what has actually happened. And so we want to choose where we place our focus and energy, because if we choose to focus on the fear, if we choose to focus on the doubt, well, we're only going to create more of what we don't want to happen, right? If we continue to focus on what we don't want to happen, your future hasn't happened yet. So if you continue to focus on what could go wrong and the fear and the doubt and all of that, you're going to create more of that in your life. That's just like how it works. So choose what you want to focus on. Choose where you want to put your energy. And maybe that's into something that I'm really focusing on is like at the end of this 12 months in this house, right? For some reason, I've been setting this like arbitrary deadline that like I have to have my $1 million business at the end of this 12 months. I don't know where it came from, but my brain was offering that up. So I know it's not true, but at the end of this 12 months in this house, where do I want to be? So what I am choosing to focus on is I want to focus on when we hit 12 months from now, I want this amazing network of new friends. I want to have, $10,000 a month coming into my business with ease. And I'm doing speaking events and I'm getting better as a speaker and I'm allowing myself to fail and I'm managing my emotions well. Because really, like one of the coaches that I love, she always says, you do not have an under-earning problem, you have an under-feeling problem. When we do not allow ourselves to feel the emotions that we need to feel to step into the big life, then we're not going to get there. Because if you think about this big life that you want to live and you're choosing where you focus and you're choosing what you want to put your energy into, well, you're also choosing what am I willing to feel? And so I've got to be willing to feel embarrassment, failure in front of a lot of people. Those are like the two biggies for me. Like, what if I say something dumb? And I get to feel that now and be like, okay, if this is the worst thing that I have to feel, if this is all I have to feel, if we sit with that for a minute right here, right now, and we realize, oh, okay, I'm going to feel this, but I'm going to be in front of people when I feel this. Okay, I'm going to be okay. Like, I haven't died. I used to do things and then I would like wake up the next day and I was like, okay, I didn't die. Like, let's take the next step. I don't know why I was using me dying as like this precursor to like, okay, you can take the next step now. Like, this is safe. But I did. And it worked for me. And so I just wake up and be like, well, I didn't die. So it's the same thing. If I mess up on stage, if I don't connect with my audience in the way that I want to and my speech falls flat, like, okay, I didn't die. I get to try again. And I get to try again. And I get to try again. Okay. And then the final thing is the step number 4 is holy energy shifting, right? Like, why am I yawning so much? Take aligned action. You get to take aligned action. And if you don't take action, you're not going to get anywhere. And so here's the thing that I've come to realize. As we were getting ready for this move, I was like, okay, what am I going to do differently that I couldn't do from where I was already at, right? Nothing. Like there's nothing that I could choose to do now that I couldn't have done then. But what I am choosing to do differently as I have reflected back on my business, if I have reflected back on like the decisions that I've made and the choices that I've made, it's that I let that small town and inconvenience of things stand in my way. I let it be an excuse as to why I couldn't go to that thing, as to why I couldn't do this thing. And I don't have that excuse here. So I did take that excuse away from myself because I still wanted to move, right? But I took that excuse away from myself. But now I get to take aligned action. And so if you are stepping into something new, you also get to take aligned action. And so when you're thinking about what you want to choose to focus on, what you're going to choose to put your energy into, and you sit back and you say, okay, universe, God, whatever, what is my next step? And that next step, that next idea, remember the subconscious does not like unanswered questions. So you're going to get an answer when you continue to ask. When you sit with that, it's like, okay, what is my next step? The next step comes to you. You have to take action. You cannot sit. If you've heard of people talking about like manifestation and you've thought that like, oh, manifestation is like sitting on the couch and just waiting for it to come to me, that's BS. It ain't going to come to you. You get to take action. So you get to be in a state of receptivity and ideas are coming your way. But if you don't take action, you're basically telling the universe, like, piss off, screw you, I'm not doing that. And you're not going to get anywhere. So, what do I have to do in this situation here? Is I'm taking aligned action. If somebody reaches out for a speaking gig, yep, I'll take it. You know, if somebody reaches out for a breathwork session, yep, I'll take it. Whatever it needs to be, you have to take the action. If you sit in stagnancy, is that even a word? You're not going to get anywhere. You have to move forward. And when you start to move forward, that's when clarity comes. When you start to move forward, that's when the momentum builds and you're really going to start to create what you desire in your life. But if you continue to sit and not take action and not move forward, then you're not going to get anywhere. You're not going to create what you want. And so that has been a challenge for me, that's something that I am choosing to do differently here than I really didn't do at home, and realized now that I was like using small town as an excuse. I'm creating the opportunities for myself. I'm putting myself in the rooms. I'm speaking out loud. I'm telling people what I do. And I am going to accept all and any of the offers that feel good for me. And I'm going to take that aligned action. So you get to decide, like, what are you going to do differently now moving forward? You don't have to move to a different state or do any of that, but what are you going to choose to do differently moving forward now so that you begin to create a life that you desire? And I will talk to you next time.